Okay, guys, so there's a couple things that you're going to want to download first. These are the ones that I use. I'm not going to say that they're the best or anything like that, but they worked the best for me, and I can't really teach everybody to all different programs. So I base good programs based on speed and userability, or whatever that word is. So that's why I pick Snapseed and Plan. So apparently Plan isn't available on Androids. So you're going to want to get Planoly for Android instead. So what those are going to do is you're basically going to be able to build a canvas. So this training isn't specifically for Instagram, but it is how I learn to build nice pictures, because that's what Instagram is all about, is creating nice pictures. So you'll also notice by using the Plan app is you'll be able to see when your pictures look clean and clear, which basically means there's space around your pictures, okay? So you don't want people to get on your Instagram and not be able to see your life, because if you have too much happening, it's really hard to kind of get an idea of who you are. And because I feel like we are selling lifestyle, we want people to take a quick glance and get a really good idea of your life in a screenshot. So that's why I use the Plan app. And as far as Snapseed goes, okay, so this is my theory. I personally we all have a different amount of pages. We all have different Instagram and all stuff like that. But the bottom line is we need to be able to share a lot of content in a short period of time. So I always take lots of pictures throughout the day, and I don't usually post the same picture to all my platforms. Hold on, I just have to get my dog. So basically what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to take a lot of pictures, have them edited so I can post one to my Instagram, one to my Facebook, one to my Facebook page. And then if I have some people following all the accounts, they're getting lots of different content, right? So I edit on the fly, and I'm constantly taking pictures. So I will say one of the #1 things about getting good pictures is your phone always has to be close, because moments don't last. So literally people are like, how do you catch such cool moments? The bottom line is I'm actually always looking for moments. I'm always seeing life in pictures. So my phone is always with me. It doesn't mean I'm always on it, but it is always within arm's reach of me. And this is the thing is, whether it's important to you or not, and whether that's too much for you, the bottom line is this training is about taking good pictures, and that's how you take good pictures, is being able to capture those moments really quickly. You do have to take a lot of pictures. Sometimes, yeah, your best picture is the first one you took, but I take a lot of pictures, and I don't I'm not talking bursts. I'm talking like different angles, stuff like that. Some simple things are, the lighting, like see how behind me, see how dark my face is? This would be a terrible picture to take of me right now. You always want to stand where the light is, but you also have to watch your shadows. Okay, so that's kind of just basic editing things. If you're taking a picture in a coffee shop and you want to take a picture of your child or whatever, make sure they're sitting in the chair that faces the window. It's just about you're literally setting up opportunities to take a picture. It doesn't mean that you're staging something. It's just that if something happens, you're going to have good lighting, you're going to have an opportunity to get a good picture. So if you're taking pictures and you're capturing your life every day, you do have to line that up so that you can create opportunities for yourself. So there's a couple other things that I did. Because I had an e-commerce store for 2.5 years before this, I had over 500 different products. And a lot of companies have no idea how to take pictures of products. So I took all of my own, which is why, I don't know if you guys checked out my Instagram, Natural Co. I'll put it in the chat. I actually closed the business when I started this, just because I knew that this was more what I wanted to do, but it's still open. And you can see there's lots of space around the pictures. You can get a really good idea of products, right? So the way you're going to take pictures of products is a little bit different, but I've actually carried that into my personal page now. So there's a couple things behind me. I just put a couple big boards. These are big whiteboards. Okay, so you can get them at any like hardware store or anything. I do keep these in my pantry. If I want to take a cool picture of something, if you go look at my page, you'll see people are like, why is there so much white? I'm like, because I've set that up. I put my kids in it. I gave them their green shake that I made for them, and I took a picture. And to be honest, I staged it, but it's not about, this is my life. This is about, he's drinking a green drink, and you're going to want it to look pretty, right? You want people to look at it. So just having him sit in front of a whiteboard drinking his drink is going to be no different than I'm sitting at the table drinking it, but I'm going to get a better picture. So it depends on what levels you guys want to go with this, but I do sometimes set up pictures like that, and they just give a clean background. One of the pictures I posted with the flowers, with me sitting drinking my coffee, I was sitting on this whiteboard with the white behind me. So just a really quick tip about that. Things like this have to be sat in front of a window. Okay, so I usually sit it over here. There's my, my patio. So what I do is I set the whiteboard right here, so it's facing that way. And what that does, it gets you good lighting, right? So you do have to put it adjacent or directly in front. People with lighting experience are gonna be like, that's terrible, it should be adjacent, because then you get more dimensions. But all I'm telling you is, like, I don't have a ton of light to work with. That's how I'm gonna get the brightest pictures. A couple other tips with taking pictures with your phone. When you go to take a picture, if you're trying to take a picture, whatever it is, tap where you want the light to be. So if it's on their face is dark, just tap your finger on their face. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna lighten an important part of your picture. Okay, so those are kind of basic phone taking things. To be honest, you guys, always make sure that your lens obviously is clear. There's lots of different attachments you can buy for iPhones now that you don't even need a digital SLR. All of my pictures that I've taken in the last 3 months have been with my camera. With this, my phone, not my camera. So I'm not using a professional camera at all. Everything is my phone. So I'm gonna go right into the Snapseed training and how I take a picture and what I do with it. So open your app, and because I can't really show you this, oh, I can kind of. Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay, perfect. So, and I want you guys to pick a picture too, because I want you to play with it at the same time that I am. Because there's gonna be certain ways that you're gonna edit certain different pictures. So for example, when we go, oh, actually, this is a cool one. So sometimes I see cool pictures and I'm like, oh, it looks so much cooler if it was edited. So then I'll just screenshot it and then I'll play with it. And so I did it with one of Mel's pictures the other day, and it looked really cool by the time I was done with it. So I'm just gonna grab one that I think that I can play a lot with. Okay, actually, you know what, you guys, I'm gonna do this one. So I took this picture with just me. My son had a flu and he was sitting on the couch. So, you know, the picture's nice or whatever, but there's some things in it that we want to take out. So I'm going to do the exact order I do things in when I'm editing a picture. There's a couple things to know right off the bat. I have a certain look and I have certain things that I do. If you guys want to know what's going to do you the best, go back, and when you start taking pictures, you'll notice you'll get more attention for certain styles. So whether it's a picture like my above pictures with me with my legs and the kids, they just get a lot of attention. So I've started doing more of them, right? They're kind of my thing. So if you want to know what people like, go look at your pictures. You'll be able to find out what people like based on what you've done, and do more of that, right? To get really good at that. So whether it's like outdoorsy pictures, whether they're staged pictures like this, whether they're on the bed pictures, whatever they are, okay? So there's a certain order that I do this. The very first thing that I do is one of two things. I'll either play with the structure or I'll play with the brightness. So there's two different areas when I go. You go into tools in Snapseed, and I'll go into details. I will tell you guys, using details and using structure is absolutely terrible for selfies. If you're gonna use them for selfies, you're gonna look about 20 years older, because it's structure, right? It's gonna pull every bit of structure out. If you wanna use it for, I recommend an app called Airbrush, and get the firm, you gotta pay for it, but the only thing I use in Airbrush is firm. So if I wanna do a structured picture of a selfie, just because there's something cool in the background I wanna make pop, I'll go in afterwards and airbrush it. And I know to a lot of people, they say, you know, people use too many apps, too many filters and everything like that. But we have to be honest, cameras don't capture what we see. They don't. they actually cannot capture the beauty of the world. What we're trying to do is make things look pretty and actually get them back to what they actually look like, okay? So don't feel like you're being fake when you're doing stuff like this. This is actually trying to recreate moments and times. Yes, airbrush, if you're airbrushing your wrinkles, but who really cares? Like, it's not a big deal. It's not like your wrinkles are gonna make that big of a difference. So anyways, I go into structure. I play with the structure a lot. I usually bump it right up, as high as it will go. This is also something that you guys have to watch. It might not be your look. I just like an edgy look. I like a sharp look. So that's what I do. I up the structure quite a bit, usually. Then I go out of there. There's another one underneath there called sharpening. What that's good for is if you don't have a really clear picture. So it'll kind of sharpen, but it also, if you have a low resolution picture, it's gonna actually also accent the low resolution. So you gotta watch that. There's a part of this, an element of this that you guys are gonna have to watch and learn. Then after that, I go right into, I go back to, oh wait, you gotta save it. Then I go into, oops, tune image. So literally, you guys, I literally only use like 4 of these, all these little things in here. I only use 4, because again, I like to be fast. So then I go to tune image, and literally I can edit a picture within like 30 seconds. Like, it's really fast now. And then I go to highlights. I like bright pictures. I've been on Instagram for a long time, and I've got a really good idea of what pictures get a lot of attention. People like bright pictures. They really do. So unless you're using filters, then you got to filter every single picture the same. I don't use filters. If you want to use filters, you can. I just don't. But they say if you're going to filter, you guys have to use the exact same filter every single time. You're creating a look. You want people to be ripping through Instagram and see one of your pictures and not even have to know whose it is. They'll know it's yours because of the way it looks, right? So you got to create your look. This is art. So anyways, I go into highlights, and then I play with my highlights. So I'll up them. You got to watch for something called hotspots. So what hotspots is where there's already bright, and then when you highlight it, it blows it out. So you just got to be careful with hotspots. I kind of like a little bit of hotspot, but again, it's really faux pas for editing with light. But I play with the highlights. Again, do this on your pictures. You'll see what I'm talking about, okay? Then after that, I'm gonna go to ambiance. Ambiance is one of my favorite. What it's gonna do is it's gonna kind of pop a lot of colors, and it's gonna work really nice with your structure. So especially if you're outside in nature, but also watch, ambiance will make your skin really orange. So there's a couple reasons to use ambiance. If right from here, actually, instead of going to ambiance, let's go to brightness right after highlights. Brightness is like a filter. What brightness is gonna do is it's gonna kind of create this bright haze over your whole picture. So I don't love it for that, because it kind of can wash out all the structure and the dimension you just created. But it is nice for like those 2 pictures I posted with me in front of the mountains. It obviously needed to be brightened up, right? So play with your brightness a little bit, get it nice and bright. But what happens when you do brightness is, you can't tell with him because his skin's pretty dark, but it will make people look really pale. So then when you go into ambiance, so this is your next step, is ambiance. When you go into ambiance and bump it up, oh wait, that's why. I was like, why does it look so orange? What ambiance will do is, it can make your skin look orange too. So there's a really happy medium with that. Ambiance is better for kind of like nature, and when you're outside, it'll kind of boost all the colors in that. Anyways, somebody's saying the email's not working, but I didn't post an email. Oh, never mind. Sorry, never mind. Okay, so that's kind of all I do there. Sometimes I never play with saturation. You guys play with those other things. See if you see something that you like. I'm just teaching you what I do. And that's kind of how I make bright pictures, and they look a little bit different. The last thing that I do is actually not the last thing. See how there's a little car in that picture? I don't want that car there. Like, really, it doesn't need to be there. People always say, like, your house is so white, it's so perfect. Well, you can bet I go in and remove nails in the wall and drywall screws falling out of the ceiling. Because why? Like, it's a distraction from the picture. It doesn't need to be there, and you don't want people distracted in any way. You want something clean and crisp. So I'm gonna pull that car right out of there. So the way I do that is, there's something really lovely. This is one of the only apps I've found that has an easy way to do this. There's something called healing. There it is. Healing is, do you guys see that? So then, because it's kind of small, I'm gonna blow it up, and I'm just gonna scribble it out of there. Gone. So I do that even, there's another piece of little paper there, it's gone. If I wanted to even pull that piece of rug out, sometimes you gotta play with it a little bit, but there, it's almost gone, right? So I would play with it a little bit more, maybe clean it up a little bit more, but pull stuff out of your pictures. Sometimes, like I took a picture of Chris, and he was sitting on top of a mountain, and Cash's arm was right in the picture, and I pulled it right out, just so that it was like—
I can't believe it freaking works. I just did it. It's amazing. Before you said that, I went out and cropped this like pop bottle out, made my picture all skinny, and I was like, fuck, this sucks. I liked this picture. And then you did that, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know I could erase it.
Yeah, you totally can. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna take pieces from your picture and replace it, is what it's gonna do. So it works really well, actually, you guys, for water pictures. Like if you're in the water and there's boats or other people swimming, you can pull them right out. Like I've taken pictures in the mountains where there's like people everywhere, and I just pull them all out, and it looks like it's just us. Again, it's not fake. It's removing distraction, right? We are so busy in life, and we have so much going on that we need to simplify. We don't want to look at busy things, right? We want to look at simple and clean. So that's another thing I do. And I save it. The very last thing that I do is I do something called a brush. This is one of my favorites, actually. So under brush, there's a couple things. I never play with temperature. I only play with exposure and sometimes saturation. So see how my couch looks kind of yellow? I don't like that. My pictures are white. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to exposure. On the bottom, it says +0.7 and +1. I always start with +0.7 because it'll just blow it out really quick. So this is what it looks like before. That's 0.07. Okay, hold on one second, you guys. I gotta reload a new movie here.
Did she say double exposure? I can't.
Okay, no, it's just under exposure, Mel, on the bottom. It's under brush and then exposure. So that's just 0.07. It's still pretty yellow. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna bump it up to 1, and I'm gonna do it again. And you know what? I'm gonna brighten up the entire external part. I'm just gonna do it fast. Sometimes his hair looks really yellow, so I'll brighten up his hair so it's nice and blonde. Kind of like painting. Okay, so there's the picture now. You guys see the difference? It's way brighter. Okay, so I'll just show you this right now. That's after. That's before. Okay, so it just brightened it up. It just made it more bright. It made it more appealing to the eye. It's prettier. To be honest, my couch isn't that yellow. My couch is almost completely white anyways. So that's what I would do. Then I would save it. When I'm done with it, you go to export, and I always go save a copy. You can save it, but then I don't know if you can undo your savings. So if you go to post it and you realize that like maybe something you brushed out looks fake and you don't like it, so I always save a copy, and then what it does is if you've edited a really old picture in your phone, it's gonna put it as your last saved picture. So you don't have to scroll back and find it. It's gonna put it at the very last one. So it's really easy to find. As far as anything else goes, that's kind of what I do. And I'll just show you guys really quickly. I'm gonna share my screen. I did pull up my Instagram page just because I want to show you some things. So I don't have a ton of followers. It's actually getting really, really hard to get good followers on Instagram. But really, it doesn't even matter how many followers you guys have. It matters how many likes you get. And I average about 120 to 200 likes. And that, to me, is good engagement. But if you look at my page, There's a lot of variety. And you guys, I'll tell you, like my natural quote page, I grew it to 14,000 people. I'll log out of this one and show you that one too. But I learned a lot in how to work with Instagram. And the thing is space around the pictures, again, is really important. It's kind of what I look for. And I also always do some things like, I know that we love to take pictures of our kids and stuff, but not everybody wants to just see your kids. So I always make sure every few pictures there's something of me, right? There's something of me and my boys. These close-up ones like are fillers. Like I have pictures that I consider fillers, where like this picture of the sky, it's just like my page was starting to look busy. So I'm gonna take a picture of one thing, maybe my coffee cup, whatever it is. Remember I was talking about that board that I put down? That's this, right? Somebody brought me a zucchini and a bunch of eggs. I put it on the floor in front of the window with my board and some flowers, and my son went over, grabbed it, and I took a picture. I didn't say, go grab an egg, honey. I just set it up and called him over and let him do his thing, right? So this is what I was talking about being ready for pictures, just having your phone. So putting space in pictures every once in a while is really good. Don't just have pictures of your kids. People will get bored. They will unfollow you. I find I don't really lose followers. I've kind of been sitting at the same for a while. I won't go into anything Instagram because you guys have some professionals coming on today to actually teach you how they've grown theirs. I wouldn't say that I'm good at growing my page, but I would say that most people that come to my page really like how it looks, and they usually add me as a friend. So I'll just show you really quick my natural co-page, if I can do that. I don't even know how to do that with Instagram to log out. Oh, probably this one? Log out, okay. Uh-oh, am I gonna remember my password here? Sweet, I remembered it. Okay, so these pictures aren't all mine, obviously. Most of them are, but not all of them are. But you can see kind of how easy it is to look at. Obviously, this is for products. It's a little bit different, but you can still kind of see what pictures, the way a good layout is. The good thing about having something like this is if you're really working on lifestyle, what I do is I have boards on Pinterest. And I was actually kind of obsessive the way that my page looked as far as like color coordinating. Like you'll see I went pink here, and then I did blue for a bit, and then I did kind of oranges. Like I kind of color coded it. But the thing is, what you can do, you guys, is you can go to Pinterest and you can create boards like an inspo board, right? If you're needing some filler spaces, whether they're quotes or whatever, just always make sure that you either credit the person, or if you can't find them, just say it's I just put a little camera and put an @ symbol and Pinterest. And that way you're not trying to claim it as your own, but you can use other people's images for sure. Just make sure you're ethical about it. Like this go all in was not mine, but I really liked it. And then see how I just put a little camera and then @ Pinterest. It'll make you more friends than enemies for sure. So I think I covered everything. Do you guys feel like I covered everything? I'm just gonna look, is it a free app? They're all free apps, Hannah. Everything that I said is free, except for Plan. When you do start to use Plan, after you get to so many pictures, I think it's really cheap. But I post everything in Plan to see how it looks and see if it's gonna fit, because sometimes you're like, oh, I have this amazing picture, and it looks terrible on your feed. I'm trying to grow my Instagram, so that's important to me, but if you're using it for your Facebook, it doesn't really matter what you use, right? Should you make a separate account on Instagram for business, or can I just edit my personal? That's totally up to you. I think that will be covered probably by the Instagram training this afternoon. So this will segue really nice into that. I personally think because we're doing, we're trying to sell a lifestyle in ourselves. So in that sense, I will be using my personal everything for everything. I maybe eventually down the road, I just feel like, and this is only my personal opinion, is like pages with a ton of quotes and stuff are like, they're already done. And you know, people follow accounts that have really big accounts that do lots, like Boss Babes, #BossBabes. They have a really good account. You can go look at theirs. They always have great memes, you know, stuff like that. So I'm not going to get into making a business account, which is probably going to be quotes and business information. I feel like that's what I'm going to use my pages for. But it just totally depends on what you're doing and what you want to do. Like, I don't know. I just use my personal one for business and personal. I feel like it's all, for me, it's all one. I know some people do them separately. Tara Scary and me actually just talked about that the other day on how she has her Facebook and stuff set up, because me and organic don't do super well, but her and organic do amazing. And I just figured it's because we have our businesses set up completely different. It's not right or wrong. It's just different. It just depends on what you want to do. So I hope that answers your question. I don't want to speak to like Instagram and stuff because I'm not a professional. I'm just talking about pictures. If I had 20,000 people on my Instagram and like 500 to 1,000 likes on every picture, then I'd be happy to answer that. But okay, Hannah, thanks for coming. Does anybody have any more questions? I don't think I see any more in the chat. No? Okay, well, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate that, and I hope that you got something from this. I had a lot of people kind of ask me if they could use some of my pictures, and honestly, that won't work anyways, even if you did want to use one of mine, because it's not your life, and I just hope that you can get some value in this to find a way to make your pictures really nice. And please feel free to message me at any time if you have any specific questions. I'm more than happy to help. I love helping people. So please feel free to message me if you need anything, any help around that.
I have one question.
Yeah.
When you take the pictures of like you and your legs and stuff, can you just touch quickly? Yeah, that's what I was like, did you put like a tripod? Or
no,
anything?
So that's my arm. GoPros are awesome too, right? I don't use a selfie stick. Those are my arm actually, you guys, and it's a little bit challenging. And also I never take a picture with this front of my camera. I always, because if you guys don't know this, the camera on the back is higher resolution than this one.
That's why it looks so crappy when you do a selfie.
Yeah. So that's a very good point. I actually will be totally honest with you guys. I've seen people, I do use my timer cam. So some people are like, how do you get pictures of you and the boys?
Without spilling the coffee.
Well, not even about that, but like actually like if we're out and about and it's just me and the boys, like because those pictures actually do the best for me is like me and the boys out and about. And to be honest, I'm shameless. I'll go up to a stranger and be like, hey, can you take a few pictures? And I'll hand them my phone. People rarely are like, no. They're like, yeah, for sure. Right? So just be shameless. Like there was one day I went out, took myself on a date to Earl's. And I said to the waiter, I was like, can you take a picture of me sitting by myself? And, people were like, well, who's taking the picture if you're by yourself? I'm like, I'll ask anybody to take a picture. This is my life. These are my moments that I want to capture. And if I have to get someone else to help, that's why knowing how to edit is beautiful, because you don't need a good picture taker. You just need someone from far away. And what you can do is I even frame it up for them sometimes. I'll just be like, can you just take it so that you can kind of see like this? And they're like, yeah, no problem. People like direction, because they don't want to take a crappy picture of you, right? They want to know that you like the picture that they took of you. And the other thing is I use something called Timer Cam. I just got a new phone, so I don't think it's on this one, but it's a yellow app. It's, again, free. And that's how actually I take some of when I'm doing yoga and the boys are attacking me, sometimes like I'll set that up and I'll use it. You can actually buy little mini tripods. I have one. I don't use it very much, and they're magnetic on the bottom and they're all like crazy. So you can stick it anywhere at the park or anything, put your phone in it and take pictures. Like just set your timer cam, and you can even set it to take a bunch, right? So timer cam's really great if you're a mom that's by yourself a lot like me and you want to get some pictures of you and your kids. That one's really helpful. There's one more tip I want to give you guys before I go that I learned from somebody else. She has an account online. It's called Happy Gray Lucky. I'll put that in the chat for you guys. Free advertisements for her. But she has some really good pictures, and she has one of the fastest growing accounts I've ever seen. Like she went from like 7,000 to like, I think she's at like, how many is she at now? Does anybody see her? Tell me how many the last time I looked, she was at 20,000, and she did that in like
She's at 139.
139,000?
Yeah.
Okay, so that girl 6 months ago was at like 20,000. So follow people that are doing, I don't know what she's doing. Hopefully they give us some advice, because I see some people's accounts that I'm like, mine's way better than that. How can they have way more than me? But she has some really good tips. So one of the things that she does is she literally takes, and actually if you go to her blog, she does a tutorial on how she takes pictures too. It's kind of general, it's kind of broad. She does use filters. And she'll tell you which ones she uses. They never worked for me. I don't like filters. It's just not my thing. But I'm a photographer by trade. So I don't like how it does the same thing to the whole picture. I like bits and pieces, you know? So, but what she does is she literally cuts a piece of cardboard and she kind of folds it and does a drop. And she puts it on her ceiling above her bed. She has one on her couch. And when she wants to take a picture of her sitting on her couch or reading or anything like that, she puts it on timer cam, she puts it in there, and she sits down and she takes a picture. She turns it around so that she can see, you know, that it's in the right spot when she sets it, but once it's set, it's set. So she does stuff like that. I did it once and I legitimately fell off the chair and I thought I broke my hip, and I was like, this is not for me. So my arm works just as good. And honestly, like I have squirming kids beside me half the time, so I don't have very long to take a good picture. So
I have this pretty bomb-ass selfie stick that actually turns into a tripod, and it has a remote where you can actually push the remote to get it to take a picture. So there's stuff like that out there where you don't even need timers, or you can actually just hold it in your hand wherever you are. And, you know, it'll take a
I totally have that one too.
Huh?
That's
I went out and like I had a little cheap one, and then I was like, I lost it. I was doing something with the kids. I lost it, and so I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm buying a good one like Natalie has with the tripod and the remote and the
So that's amazing. I personally am so tired of carrying diaper bags and things. And I also have a dog, right, that I'm walking. So I wear yoga pants 90% of the time. So I have no pockets. So I literally, I can't carry extra stuff, but I've always wanted something like that because I do feel like it would be easier. So if you can shove it in a backpack or you can take it with you, again, everyone's going to find their own way. Maybe Natalie, you could share if you know the brand or anything, and people that want it can maybe go check it out if that works for them. Again, we all have our own ways, but I just legitimately cannot stand carrying things personally. So that's why I just all my phone for me, but I'm sure I could get much better pictures if I did do something like that. So if you do know it and you want to stick it in the chat, and then I'm
not sure. I'm trying to find it right now.
Yeah, no worries. Or even Natalie, when you find it, why don't you just, oh, there it goes. What's it called? Clip grip? Is that the same one that you have, Natalie, too?
Let me check. I gotta look at it.
So this one was about $80.
Oh, okay, so it's probably a good one.
Versus the $15 one I had that I lost. So this one has the Bluetooth shutter, tripod adapter, desktop. You can also put a regular camera on it, not only your phone, and the handle and the, blah, 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 the little remote.
Yeah, for ad videos, I never hold my phone. I do have a selfie stick, like if I'm shooting a video, just because it's too sticky. Unless you use a selfie stick, they're really good. But just for pictures, you know what I honestly feel like, you guys, is I feel like the more effort I go into planning a picture, the more chance it's going to fail. That's, to be honest, anytime I try and plan something, I do set myself up for success, but staging and planning, doesn't always work out very good unless, again, I'm using these boards and, I already have it staged and my kids walk into it or something like that. But I tell you, when I had my shop, I would spend hours a day taking pictures, and I despised it because as soon as the lighting changes, then you get blue pictures. And in the winter, it's so hard to get good pictures inside because it's so dark. So, yeah, try and do it your way. I just wanted to show you guys how I edit and how I get good pictures quick. So 5 PST, Jacqueline. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know what that was about. Okay, yeah. So, and just so you guys know, in order to be a part of that training, you do have to register for it. You do have to go. It's not like going to be posted on Team Phoenix. So go and register with it from Brian. I think it's going to be amazing. And now you can have some tools to use to take good pictures for your page. So I hope it was helpful.
Brandon Odom. It was Brandon Odom, not Brown. Brian.
Who did I say?
You said
Brandon. Brian.
Oh, did I say Brian? I always do that. Brian, Brandon. Same thing, different. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think you just posted the link to register.
He posted it a few days ago and again today. It's going to be epic.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, it was so
And there may or may not be a replay, guys, so it's definitely one to set time aside for if you can.
Yeah. Again, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to stop the recording and hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Shauna.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.